Welcome to Be Ablaze. We're lighting a fire in you to move you from ordinary to extraordinary, living out your blaze for life. I am your host, Polly Hamp. Let's be ablaze. I did carnivore for 75 days, and here's what I learned. So I have been asked by so many people about my carnivore journey, and I wanted to take some time today to really talk about it. And the thing about carnivore is I didn't start it to lose weight. I started it because I really wanted to think differently about my health. I wanted to be curious, and I really wanted to learn about a different way of eating that seemed to have some pretty interesting outcomes. And so I was fascinated by the conversation, but then also all of these people and doctors talking about the benefits of becoming carnivore. So what I did is I got curious about it to see what would happen if I stripped back everything, like totally did a complete elimination diet. And so no salads, no snacks, no sugars, just meat. And I did just beef and some lamb because it's a ruminant animal. Just meat, salt, and water, tallow, fat. And what I discovered in those 75 days had less to do with food and everything to do with awareness. And it was a fascinating journey. So for 75 days, I ate nothing but animal products, meat, again, butter, salt, tallow, and all of that. That's it. No fruit, no sides, no seasonings, no pepper, no any of that. And it's so funny because people are like, so wait, what do you eat a vegetable? I'm like, nope. Do you eat bread? Nope, nothing. Just meat. I always joked. I said, if it has eyes, you can eat it. And I'm not including potatoes. I know potatoes have eyes, but if it has eyes, you can eat it. And it's an animal. So alligator, chicken, fish, lizards, whatever. If it has eyes, you can eat it. I don't know if you want to eat lizards. I've not tried that yet. You do you. So I would say that most people who go on carnivore go on it for a quick fix. They're really wanting to lose weight quickly, which is actually something that is an outcome of carnivore. But I did it to think differently about my health. And what I learned went far beyond nutrition. It reshaped how I connected with my body. I know it sounds wild, but trust me, I thought the same thing at first. But I've learned over the years that when something keeps crossing your path, it's usually worth paying attention to. So I decided to do what I always do, experiment, observe, and think differently about what my body might be trying to tell me. So now before you roll your eyes or think that I am trying to convince you to go carnivore, I am not. That's not what this episode is about. I'm not here to sell you a diet because you know that's not what we do. That's not ta-da. We don't sell diets. I'm here to talk about what happens when you strip away the noise, stop labeling things as good or bad, and just listen to your body. That's what ta-da and think differently about health is all about. Because here's the thing. I didn't do this to lose weight. I did it to learn, and I did it to think differently. And what I learned had less to do about meat and more to do with trust. So trusting my body to communicate, trusting myself to listen, and trusting that health isn't just found in a plan, it's found in presence. So in today's episode, I am going to share what those 75 days actually looked like, the surprising shifts I experienced physically and emotionally, and the lessons I walked away with that have changed how I think about food and myself. And so whether you've ever thought about trying carnivore or you just love hearing what happens when someone experiments with their own health from a place of curiosity, this one is for you. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of why I actually started. I heard about carnivore, it's probably in January, it'll be about a year and a half. And I did 75 hard back in the first time I did it was back in 2023, in January of 2023. I did not know about carnivore. I was eating paleo. Paleo felt great to my body. I love high protein. My body thrives on high protein diets. I've been vegan. I've done every single flippin' diet out there that just has you try different things. But a way of eating that was really great for me was paleo. So I did 75 hard, and it wasn't until probably close to the end of 75 hard, I started seeing things about this way of eating called carnivore. And the things that I was seeing was people, of course, are losing weight and incredible amounts of weight, actually, but that's not what piqued my interest. The thing that piqued my interest the most was the fact that people were resolving their autoimmune diseases. People were resolving the eczema and different inflammation, things that would happen to their body that would cause inflammation. They were having these personal experiences that were changing their lives. And so I started reading some books. I grabbed Carnivore Code by Paul Saladino. And I also started listening to Ken Berry. And I have some other guys that Sean Baker. Then there's the Meat and Better Gal, all of that. I started following them and listening to them. And there's stories, and there's several other ones out there that just are fun to watch and fun to listen to, and just different experiences of their health journey of losing weight, but not just losing weight, but really getting their health and the health ailments that they had resolved. And it's because I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis back in 2009, and I was on biological drugs for many years, and doing multiple different kinds of medications and seeing a rheumatologist. I really wanted to start going the holistic route to see if there's a way that I can heal my body that, or at least lessen the inflammation without using these extreme pharmaceuticals. And so I began a journey of learning, but then carnivore came up. And so I looked at that, and I don't know if you've ever read of any or listened to any of Michaela Peterson. She's Jordan Peterson's daughter. She is carnivore and has resolved her rheumatoid arthritis. With these people and their experiences, there's so many experiences that doesn't seem just a fluke. So I got curious and really wanted to do it because of health issues and gut issues and getting my gut cleaned up. You've heard of leaky gut, all of those things. And so I was like, I'm really curious. So I dabbled. I was what they call a dirty carnivore in the beginning. I'm like, okay, I don't know how extreme I can go. I didn't just go beef in the beginning. I was still eating chicken. I think I used some different seasonings, things like that. And I was quote unquote a dirty carnivore. And then I'm like, I think it was a few months after I did that, I was really going to just jump all in and start doing strict carnivore. And the thing that I learned is it's really hard. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, I wasn't doing this to lose weight. I was doing this for resolving some of the RA and the inflammation in my body, because it is a complete elimination diet. One thing I want to say real quick, I want to mention that I am not promoting or demonizing this. I'm just sharing my own personal lived experience and the things that I've studied. I've looked stuff up. I've read comprehensive books. It's things that I love to do. And so there is so much information out there. So don't just listen to me. Go dig up your information. And I know people, with what I do with Think Differently About Health, and ta-da. And please, you pick your own eating plan and you get to experiment. You get to learn how your body thrives best in the kinds of foods that you consume, because each of us are wonderfully and beautifully made uniquely. So really taking that into account. So again, I am just sharing my own experience. And when I looked at the plan, I decided after I had played with a little bit into dirty carnivore, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go strict carnivore. I'm going to do strictly beef. I'm going to do it for at least 30 days. Beef, salt, tallow. And I was still drinking coffee then. I'm still drinking coffee now. I've had a very difficult time eliminating that. I also use milk in my coffee, and I wish I could get raw milk, but it's very difficult to get. And the fact that it's not legal in most states, I still have a dairy element. But I was trying to be as low dairy as possible. I eventually got rid of butter for a little while and just did tallow, because butter is dairy, because sometimes dairy can be an inflammatory contingent on your body's composition and what's going on in your gut and things like that. So I was wanting to eliminate dairy to see. So I did all of that. And here's the thing. I expected to lose some weight, but again, that's not why I was doing this. I expected to feel better and I wanted to feel better quickly. And my experience, my personal experience was I had incredible clarity, incredible energy, and I felt really good. However, the inflammation would ebb and flow. It was just not as bad as it always is, but I felt fantastic. The thing is, I only did that first round for 30 days. And so I try to stay consistent within that. But this last summer, 2025, I did 75 hard again with my husband and we picked carnivore. So I did 75 straight days of strict carnivore. Again, for the health aspect, I knew I would have incredible energy, clarity, and really wanting to work on resolving this inflammation. And I would feel better and experience that. And I will tell you, like, man, when you're doing an elimination diet like this and you're getting all of these nutrients and all of these vitamins and all these incredible satiating fats that are so very good for you and very important for us to really consume. And it's hard because I was raised in the no fat era. Like, no fat is good and fat is bad, and eat this fake butter because that's better for you. And you don't want to have this, and don't get cholesterol, and all these things that now they're proving are so detrimental to the human body that doing this diet has been an incredible way to get my body exactly what it needed and for the time that it needed. So I did 75 days of that. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the journey. So when you start this, if this is something you're considering and you're like, oh, I don't know, it's kind of, that's crazy. You only eat meat? Like, I think of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. You don't eat meat? You don't eat meat? Okay, I make lamb. But it's like, you only eat meat? You only eat meat? It's like, yeah. So I only ate beef. That's what I chose because I wanted to do a complete elimination. My mindset was, if I can't eat it raw, then I don't want to eat it. You can't eat pork, chicken. You can eat some fish raw, just know the source and the level, because of all the issues with fish and things like that these days, being farmed or fresh, and just what's in all of our waters. But you can eat beef and you can eat lamb raw because they're ruminant animals and the bacteria is not at the same level as like chicken or any kind of fowl or pork. So I chose to go strictly beef. And I did, for the 75 days, I think I did lamb a couple of different times, salt, no seasonings, and tallow. The detox and the adjustment phase, contingent on how you were eating before you do this, you will have different detox experiences. So if you've been eating junk and crap and processed foods and just like all that kind of stuff, and then you decide to go carnivore, your detox is going to be pretty intense. So just be ready for that. I would highly recommend, don't eat all the junk and the crap right up until the point that you have made a decision to start going carnivore. Slowly start going into carnivore and make some different choices. Get rid of all your processed foods, any sugars, any kind of like high over processed carbs, things like that. Start eliminating those and gently go into it. Otherwise, your detox, you will have something that they call the keto flu, which literally feels like you have the flu. And your body, because it's detoxing, you will probably still have that even if you were eating really clean before, just because your body's adjusting. There's the energy dip. So you're going to be fatigued. Like the first week, it's cloudy. And then the cravings for me were pretty wicked. Just like, I want what I want when I want it now. And we started 75 hard right after we got back from a month-long trip in Cat Island, which we eat pretty clean while we're there. We stay in a house and we can cook all of our food. And I pack I bring a lot of frozen meat already because I eat pretty carnivore most of the time. But still, we had some different like coconut tarts, and I had a few beers while we're there, and eating different things that I don't normally eat at home because we're on vacation and on a beach. And we got home and then started carnivore and 75 hard, probably 2 or 3 days right after we got back. So the detox was not horrible, but the cravings and the making conscious choices and decisions of I'm not going to choose the stuff that I know harms my body. And I really want to see what carnivore does for me for 75 days. And check out 75 Hard if you've ever looked at it. It's a ridiculous program. And I can't remember if I've done a podcast about it or not, but just a real quick overview of what 75 Hard is. 75 days of you take a picture of yourself every single day. You work out twice a day. Each workout has to be 45 minutes long, and one of them has to be outside. You read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. You choose an eating plan and you stick with it. I feel like there's a couple of other things in there. Anyway, if you miss one of those, you have to start over. And it's pretty intense. There's a great app for it. It marks your days and all that kind of stuff. And so it's something that I really wanted to do for myself. The first time I did it was discipline. And really, I looked at it for 2 years before I decided to do 75 hard. And it's called 75 easy. It's 75 hard. So that's what that is. And then the eating plan that we chose to do this past summer was carnivore. Again, the detox. Whew. And I will tell you, okay, I'm just going to go here. Okay, poop. The craziest thing with carnivore is in the beginning, don't trust your toots. Just don't trust them because your body is changing, your gut is healing, and your body's learning to digest just beef, fats, if you haven't been eating a lot of fats, and just that. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. I might have a story or two of not trusting my toots. So there is that. And so just be prepared for that. But the other thing is, you know how we're told we're supposed to poop every day? You can read all of this in the books. Go look it up. Don't just take my word for it and don't come and fight me in the comments. Go look it up. The cool thing about carnivore is when you eat this way, your body is using every single nutrient, every single thing, every single fat, the meat, all of that. And so your body is absorbing it, and the waste, there's not as much waste. And so you will not poop every day. And the thing is, will you not just poop every day, you won't feel bloated. You won't feel constipated. You won't feel gassy, all of that. Like you won't be tooting because there's no gaseous, like with all vegetables and fruit, they've got the oxalates and the fibers and all the gases, and you can be pretty tooty when you eat fruits and vegetables. I don't know if you've ever been around a vegan, they're pretty tooty. And so just know that doing this, you won't be. And it's pretty interesting. And there's all kinds of scientific facts out there. Go look it up. So I'm going to stop talking about poop because there's some great podcast information out there. So you can do a little bit more digging in that. Then I noticed as I was doing it, week 2, week 3, my mood became very regulated. My sleep was so freaking fantastic. Again, I'm also working out 2 times a day, but I was sleeping great. My digestion, my hormones, the inflammation, I still would have some flare-ups, things like that, but not as bad. It never resolved itself completely. But then my clarity, my energy, I've heard it called tiger blood before. And I don't know if they call it tiger blood in carnivore, but I've heard it in some different other worlds that when you hit this like really great level of health, you have this thing called tiger blood. And it's almost like this energy. You don't need caffeine. You don't need any of these energy drinks, things like that to have energy. You just have it. And I feel like that's how we are designed to live. And food has is a huge element of how we fuel ourselves. So if we're diesel engines, but we keep putting gunky gas into our bodies, then our bodies aren't going to run and they're going to be exhausted and they're eventually going to burn out. The same thing, you're putting clean diesel, you're putting the elements in there that you need, your engine's going to run smoothly and you can like hit that turbo button and just zoom all day long without any outside stimulants to make you feel that way. It's pretty incredible. Another thing I noticed is I was diagnosed with ADHD a few years ago as an adult. And when I was on carnivore, as strict as I was on it, I did not have ADHD at the extreme level. Like I still had some of the tendencies here and there, but it was incredible at how clear-minded I felt. So one of the things I will tell you that the social and emotional aspects are when you're eating differently from other people, especially when it's not really mainstream. A lot of people know about it these days because it's talked about a lot more. But you go to dinner or you go to a friend's house and your friend might be making chicken or lasagna and you're not going to eat it. You're going to choose not to eat it. And ahead of time, it's like, hey, please no, I do not want to be rude. This is what I'm doing. And so I will bring my own food. Or you're out to dinner and you just order a steak or you just order hamburger patties and they look at you like, what are you doing? And if it comes with sides, I always offer my sides to my friends or families. Hey, do you want my sides? And it's a conversation for sure, but if you don't want to talk about it, just say, yeah, I'm doing this thing because I'm really trying to get my health in alignment. And if some people will be curious about it, some people might go, you're so weird. What do you mean you can't eat vegetables and fruits? It's not that I can't, I'm choosing not to for these reasons. And it's really planning what your social environment looks like, that when you go into it and you might get poked at a little bit and all that. And it's like, you know what? You got to have thick skin. And just really know your reason why. And you don't have to explain yourself to people. You don't have to do that. And you can just say, I'm just doing carnivore. And then how was your day today? And so there's all different kinds of ways to navigate the social and emotional aspect of it. But I know in the beginning when I first started, I'm like, I feel left out. Like I had an emotional response, not that people like were doing that to me, but it's like I felt left out because I was used to being able to eat whatever I wanted to eat whenever I wanted to eat it and make the choices from a place of still health. Like I was still making healthy, quote unquote, healthy choices. But then when going carnivore, you eat at home a lot more just because you don't know what restaurants are cooking with and things like that. And just it's expensive to eat out, especially when you're eating just beef. And there's inexpensive ways to do it, but it's still expensive. So just be mindful of that and you can navigate that however you want. And so the thing that I really want to talk about is just how I learned to listen to my body and notice the patterns instead of judging them. If I'm hungry, I'd ask the question, is this my mouth that's hungry or is my body actually hungry? And when I would eat plenty of meats and lots of fats, I'd be satiated for hours. I felt great, felt full. And then my body would, once it started getting regulated, would start signaling, hey, you're hungry. But I would have these spikes and moments of like craving. And I'm like, okay, that's my mouth. It's dopamine. But I just called it my mouth. My mouth is wanting and craving something different. So here are my takeaways. So it taught me about paying attention to my body and my cravings and what my body needed. And it taught me how much I really relied on food as dopamine. And again, remember, I've done this on and off for a little over a year and a half now. This last 75 hard this past summer was pretty much the strictest I've been going into it. And so really paying attention to how my body communicates what it needs. And because of the elimination, because I don't have all of these choices of what vegetable, what fruit, what carb, what am I going to eat, it really quieted all the noise in my mind about food. It's like, I'm going to eat ground beef today. I'm going to put tallow on my ground beef. Now I'll eat a little bit of lamb again because it's a ruminant animal. I'm going to mix the ground beef and lamb, or I'm going to make meatballs or whatever. I'm going to have steak. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do lamb chops, just different things where those are just my choices. Instead of all of this outside noise of, oh, I want chips, I want guacamole, I want this, I want that. I eliminated and quieted the cravings, which really helped me connect to my body in a whole new way. The other thing is really learning the difference between restriction and reset. I came from a fairly diet culture mindset, and my goal is to eliminate the diet culture. Diets do not work. They are designed to keep you stuck in your midbrain where you're looking for dopamine hits. As I lose 10 pounds, I gain 30 pounds. And it's like you eat all these processed foods, take all of these processed supplements, and there's great supplements out there. However, there's also a whole world of diet pills and diet things, that medication that keep you stuck in a dopamine mindset and can eventually cause harm to you. It wasn't about restriction and me starving myself. It was really about resetting my body for health. And I will tell you, like, I've heard other people talk about this, but you can't overeat on this. Like, you eat until you're full. And it's amazing how much you can actually eat. I'm always shocked at how much I can eat and still feel great. And my body processes it. And I don't feel bloated and I don't feel disappointed in myself for overeating because I start listening to my body and go, oh, I'm full. I don't need to keep eating. And then I actually lost a considerable amount of weight. And I got to a number, I'm like, I can't lose any more weight. Like, I've never been in that place before where I'm like, I shouldn't lose any more weight. I'm getting too thin. In my mind, that's my number and how I would in my physical body and what I felt comfortable and good in. And so it's like, I'd have to actually eat more and I have to make myself eat more. So it was interesting change and a reset and thought process of really going, I'm going to take care of my body and I get to eat more food and lots of fats. And the other thing that I really want you to know is I don't believe in one size fits all solutions. So carnivore has been great for me. I love it. And I am not strictly on it right now. I'm pretty much a quote unquote dirty carnivore right now. My goal is to get back on it again, just because 75 days is not long enough to resolve the RA. And it's something that in my mind, it is making a clear intention of really at least a year being strict carnivore. And there are some heroes out there that have just done it for a lot of years, actually. And I'm just like, you guys are amazing. And I got to 75 days. I'm like, this is like coming to the end. And I could really tell the difference in my body of when I'm on like hardcore strict carnivore, where I just eat beef, tallow, I do drink coffee, and I do use, again, milk in my coffee. And I also use honey as a sweetener, which is carnivore compliant, but it's not strict carnivore. So the purists, they will say absolutely not. Honey is not allowed on carnivore. But again, the thing is you have to do you. Experiment with you. And if it's something that you've been interested in, try it for 30 days. Just see. A week is not long enough. Like, seriously, give yourself 30 days. And if you can't do all beef, use other animals. Just try it and see what happens if you've been curious about it. The thing about it is just really looking at your own process, your own curiosity, and you'll learn so much more about yourself through the shift in the thought processes, which I was really surprised about. It's anything that we do that takes a discipline of making a choice within the cons. It's like, I'm wanting to get healthy. I'm choosing to make choices that will keep me consistent in my health journey. The thing about the diet industry is it's all about a quick fix. And people are looking for that. I'm going to drop 30 pounds in 30 days and do all of these different crazy things that cause harm to us much later on. I know I've caused harm to my body so many times because of the diets I've chosen to do thinking that was going to be what fixed me. And the carnivore, the elimination diet is just really, if it's something that you're curious about, experiment with it. Because remember, not one size fits all. And it's really about how does your body connect to it. But again, please do it for at least 30 days because you've got to go through the detox. You've got to really get through some of the levels to really experience the benefits of what carnivore has to offer. Right now, I am in a place that carnivore is been just, it is my foundation, but I am not strict carnivore. And I will be strict carnivore again soon just because I really want to get the benefits of the elimination of inflammation. And I feel so good on it, so incredibly good on it. The amount of energy that I have on it is just incredible. And I still drink coffee, but I'm pretty sure that's more of a dopamine thing, an addiction thing. I think if you have to withdraw from something, more than likely it's not the healthiest thing for you. I don't know if you've ever tried to quit coffee if you are a coffee drinker, but boy, it is hard to withdraw from coffee. But again, I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts. If you've been interested in carnivore or even your own experiences, did you have good experiences or bad experiences? And what type of carnivore did you do? And how long did you do it for? And is it something you're like, I've really wanted to try it, but I've been afraid to, and just the information. So I'm going to put a document in the show notes, And this is what I send to all my friends who are like, hey, I'm interested in carnivore. I just don't know where to start. And so it's a really rough draft. It's not scientific, but there is tons of science out there. So I will also put in the 3 gentlemen that I mentioned and also the steak and butter gal. There's lots of people out there. Just type in carnivore, but I love following Paul Saladino. He talks about, he was strict carnivore. He wrote the carnivore code. And then he started, after a year, noticing his body. He started eating some carbs and really listening to his body. He was eating fruits. I love his approach because he was strict carnivore and then his body started changing. He's like, there's some things that I'm going to change and add in. And so that's what this is all about, is really how do you take care of you, because it's not one size fits all. And Paul got a lot of pushback when he started eating fruit. It's like, how dare you leave the carnivore community? And it's, come on, you guys. Each of our bodies are different. And so we honor that. And so kudos to him for really listening to his body and going, this is what my body needs. This is how my body thrives at the healthiest version it can be. And he's still mostly carnivore. And he's just added in some fruits. And then you'll have Sean Baker and Ken Berry, and then of course the meat and butter gal, and then some other people that have just really taken on the cause for carnivore and how it's changed their health and their experiences. I appreciate you joining me. I hope you have a blazy, fiery, amazing day and take some time to start thinking differently about your health. Thanks for tuning in to Be a Blaze podcast. If today's episode sparked something in you, don't keep the fire to yourself. Follow, like, download, and share it with a friend who needs the fire. Let's keep blazing trails together. This is Polly Hamp, and I will see you next time.